Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Partner Showcase for Microsoft Teams Calling and Meetings, proudly brought to you by Microsoft and our gold partner, XContent Business Solutions. My name is Timothy Lothering, and I'll be the Master of Ceremonies for this event. I do, however, ask that you please use the Q&A panel if you have any questions, and our team behind the scenes will get to you as soon as possible. So on the next slide, we're going to look at what Microsoft Teams is in terms of where it fits in, well, where calling and meetings fits in, right? Teams is the hub for teamwork, allowing you to plug into everything Office 365, from chats and collaboration to third-party apps, including meetings and calls. So with this said, the event today is focused on enabling you as the customer with solutions to have better meetings and the ability to make and receive PSTN calls directly from Microsoft Teams. With that said, XContent is a gold Microsoft partner that has several great solutions that I'll take to you shortly. When we look at the next slide as well, we'll see that Microsoft Teams has grown in size over the last 6 or 7 months, with numbers such as 75 million daily active users and an astounding 4.1 billion minutes on our platform. Microsoft Teams has really been embraced as a cloud-based technology for everything calling and meetings. We have several massive customers globally, and this number of 20 is actually outdated back from April. We're sitting with well over 100 customers that have 10,000 plus employees using Microsoft Teams on a daily basis. So what is Teams, and or more specifically, what is calling and what is meetings, right? Calling is the ability to make and receive a regular telephone call from your Teams client, be it inside of Teams desktop client, web client, or even your Android or iOS handset, allowing you to keep that identity of Microsoft, of your office number with you wherever you may go. All you need is an internet connection. Some of the great features that come bundle or out the box with Microsoft Teams, such as cloud auto attendance, call queues. We have the ability to have caller IDs or hide or mask caller IDs, presence-based call routing, so whether or not you're available online or not, so yellow, green, red, will then either forward that as a busier tone or even directly to voicemail. We have features such as secondary ringers, so you have different sounds or different types of rings for specific types of people. We have delegate access, distinctive ring alerts. We have call blocking and common area phones. Common area phones are typically used in things like elevators or reception areas so that people can actually make a Teams call directly from these shared workspaces. We have intelligent dial pad, such as speed dials or click to call. So remember, people are dialing a person, not a telephone number. With that said, I'm going to hand off to Brendan van Staden from XContent Business Solutions, who's going to take us through some of their solutions and offerings that they have to present to you today. Brendan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Good morning, everybody. I am Brendan van Staden from XContent. I look after the sales and business development teams within our organization. And I'm very, very pleased to be joining you all this morning, and thank you, Microsoft, for hosting us and for this opportunity to showcase XContent, our solutions, our services, and more particularly to the point of what we're discussing today around Teams voice and audiovisual, which is our XCAV solution. I'll take you through all of this in a minute. I've also got Bennett Bezadenhout, who is one of my technical resources. Bennett is one of our certified Teams voice and AV technologists, specialists, if you like. And she is online, so if there are any questions, deeper questions technically, you're welcome to pop them in the Q&A. And Bennett, I am sure, will answer them to the best of her ability. I'll try. But I'm not sure that in my zeal and as being in sales all my life, I don't know that I'm going to give you exactly the answer that you want. It might be a lot sweeter than you anticipate, so just bear with me. It is a proud moment for us, as always, to join Microsoft to speak to customers, mutual customers, new customers, people who are in our modern work world, in this different space that we have today, We are a very proud Microsoft cloud solution provider, and using the tech that we have, really what we're here for is to come up with innovative solutions to add business value and grow your businesses in your technical space. This partnership that I speak of with Microsoft, and Timothy mentioned it earlier, Gold Partnership, our competencies stretch wide. We've had this value partnership for well over 10 years, and it has just grown and been nurtured over time. And these competencies speak for themselves. Our Gold competencies live in the cloud. We're a cloud business, cloud productivity, analytics, security, DevOps, a wide range of cloud-focused solutions for our customers with the support of Microsoft. Obviously, our silver competencies sit through communications, content and collaboration, which is really what we're talking about today, messaging, enterprise, mobility, and security. We have our solution assessment tool sets, planning services, and value adds. And one of the particular ones there that I can focus on in the value add space is the fact that we're the only non-LSP fast track partner in South Africa. It's one of the partner accolades that we enjoy and really value, given that we can work with our customers in fast tracking with Microsoft, fast tracking them into bigger user adoption across a wide variety of the Microsoft stacks that we all know and love today. Moving on to our co-sell offerings. Now, if you are familiar with the co-sell offerings, this is a set of tools that we, in conjunction with Microsoft, co-sell and work with them very closely to bring to our customers the value that this partnership can offer. And this stretches across quite a wide variety of disciplines. Office 365 migrations, that's probably our bread and butter pieces of work if you look at it from that perspective. Of course, today, Teams voice calling, managed team room systems, we're going to be talking in detail about that. And then a whole lot of other stuff which we do and work with Microsoft, and just to add value to our customers. It's not, I'll tell you a little bit more about the solution business that we have. We're not just a product house and out there peddling products to our customers. So focusing on those two in bold, it takes us to our first deck, which is Teams calling in modern work. We call it modern work. Microsoft coined modern work and security. It's the way we work today. It's a lot different to the way we worked, dare I say, a few months ago, dare I say, a year or so ago. Things are very different now. The adoption of Teams as a communication platform has been astounding. Tim shared the numbers with you. And of course, what XContent has done, we by default had to move into this realm very quickly. We had already structured our own Teams voice platform. We'd already structured our own audiovisual meeting rooms environments. So for us, when the pandemic happened, it was kind of business as usual. And I don't say that unsensitively. I say it with intent because we just got on with the job at hand. We had the tool sets available to us in Teams and on our Microsoft stacks that enabled us to do this in the cloud, and our business continuity was not interrupted. And I'm very grateful to report that. Our teams are very grateful to report that they are still functional, and we have had no attrition or suffered any casualties as a result of the pandemic. And that, I think, is an accolade for us. We've taken it very seriously. And whilst we're only just now starting to bleed our way back into the offices, many of us still operate from our remote environments using exactly what we're talking to you about here today, the Teams calling enabled on our platforms. So what does it mean? And Timothy alluded to it earlier. Very simply, you can make your calls to your landlines or mobile devices. You use your PC, your mobile device, tablet, whatever it is, to make and receive calls from wherever you are. When we look at combining that feature set with phone system, we go into all those fancy little features that were scrolling on the screen a few minutes ago, showing us really a deeper dive into what is some legacy PABX capability, some modern workplace stuff that that is beyond ordinary traditional PABX. And the beauty of XC Voice as an enabling platform is that we can extract all the value that was traditionally enjoyed in legacy switching systems, and give you integrated cloud features delivered from Office 365, Microsoft 365 for holistic voice call solutions. We use it every day. We don't. I mean, we have a PABX, at least a reception a desk in the offices. We haven't had a receptionist manning that desk for quite a few months now, given the situation. So we have the features of the switching capability within XC Voice to move these calls that are coming into our main national numbers. One obviously being in Johannesburg and the other being in Cape Town. Anywhere these calls come in, we are able to route them to the respective desks that need to address those calls. We have support and service calls. So we have the intelligent routing. We have the capability to direct and route calls to specific users, to specific team sets. And obviously with our XC Ops facility, which I'll talk to you about in a bit more detail later, we have the ability to address support and service calls as and when the service level agreements call for those calls to be addressed. There's a very simple diagram at the bottom which speaks to how a team user would get a call in and would make a call out. You've got an external caller who would use their carrier, their connectivity routing carrier, their voice carrier to an SBC, which is a session border controller. I'll tell you a little bit more about where those can live in a minute. That session controller effectively routes the voice into traditional systems, to PBX legacy systems, to users that might be sitting on a phone, on a soft phone, on a hard phone, on a desk, or it fires it via the internet to a Microsoft Teams XC Voice application, where the Teams user then gets full access to that call. I can, as a user, as a Teams user, route that call out. I can put that call on hold. I can collaborate. I can call other people into the call. I can extend that. I can even start chatting whilst I'm on those calls, given that my system is set up in such a way that if we're doing Teams to Teams calling via the PSTN or the internet, we can have deeper chat facilities and deeper engagements and collaboration. I'll talk to you about that in a second when we speak about our AV solutions. So I hope I'm making a bit of sense up until now. This is, business as usual for a lot of us. But for many people out there, the traditional PABXs, the traditional switching systems where investments have been made are still there. They're still legacy and they're very real. So we're sensitive to that, and obviously these are deeper discussions. This business is about, XC Voice, XContent is about understanding in very deep detail, granular detail, how our customers or potential customers' businesses operate, and how we apply solutions to those. So we would need to understand that, and we would need to start looking at what your requirements, are more specifically. Obviously from a Teams calling XC Voice perspective, we need an Office 365 with phone system. It can be added on or included in the E5 stack, and Microsoft 365 E5 SKUs. The SBC needs to be configured on the tenant, and SIP trunk connection to the PSTN network for breakout, and that's essentially what happens. There's not a hell of a lot to this. Obviously, the inside requirements, how the application of the connectivity, of the routing rather, is required inside your business is a deeper dive, and that needs to be scoped in more detail when we have project discussions, and we add more functionality to your systems as and when you require it and based on your business need. When you have your session border controller options, there's a dedicated physical device which you will typically have on premise, and that's linked to your SIP trunk PBX, which is the thing I showed you a second ago. There's a dedicated virtual device deployed within your Azure tenant, customer's Azure tenant, and linked to SIP trunk of customer choice. And then you have your shared virtual device deployed and hosted as your tenant and connected to shared SIP trunk infrastructure. So there are options in terms of how this can be deployed. I think the biggest thing here is that as a certified partner, XContent has the necessary skills to structure this thing in the most cost-effective way for you. We take into account, obviously, legacy systems that you may have. There are a number of customers out there today who currently run SIP devices and SIP trunks, excuse me, separate to what we're expressly talking about today. They've been doing it for some time, so we're not going to discard those operations who have that infrastructure currently. We would look to optimize and maximize that utilization of the current infrastructure and obviously mitigate any further spend to make it a most cost-effective solution, whilst at the same time addressing current technical needs. So when we look at teams calling, additional options on devices, your physical device, obviously we've chatted about. The dedicated virtual devices we've chatted about, and the shared devices we've spoken about. When you look at the different attributes of each of these devices, the XC voice practice, and it is a separate practice within XContent. I'll tell you more about a number of those practices a bit later too. But the XC voice practice is where we focus specifically. We've got dedicated resources applied to this, and we apply the relevant skill sets to set you up in the best possible way, the most cost-effective way, and the way that makes sense in terms of what your business ambitions are in the modern workplace. For example, if you're currently sitting with a variety of hosted solutions, PABX solutions, or whatever it might be on a national basis, we would look to optimize that and say, right, what do we do? How do we centralize that? Where do we route calls as a central call? And this is where your license discussions come in. How you would structure your Microsoft licensing in this space, phone system licensing, where you have your physical and dedicated devices and shared devices on a software as a service model per user per month. And it's really looking at what is going to be the most cost effective for you and the most practical physical deployment, physical solution for you. I hope I'm making sense. If there are questions, please feel free to fire them in. I'm sure, I'm just going to have a look at the Q&A. There are no new questions here that I see. I'm sure Burnett and the rest of our team, Microsoft team, will be glad to answer those that I can't. But yes, that is our XC voice practice in a nutshell. As I say, we use this stuff ourselves, so we know how it works, why it works, what to do with it. And that is the skill set that we've developed and built over time. Our users have the skill set every single day. It's how we collaborate in our work from home, work from far environments. We've got teams pretty waxed in terms of how we use the system. We also move one step deeper into the collaborative aspect, where we can take voice into a further and more structured teams environment through some of our other applications to really make the user experience fabulous and to enjoy the best possible quality over the connections and using the software apps that we provide. So with all of that said, let's move along to the next piece of our specific discussion this morning, and that is going one step further and taking XC voice and looking at how do we enhance this collaborative capability. How do we take it a step further and actually call meetings and get more people involved and look at a deeper dive on making that audiovisual experience slightly better. And this is where our AV practice comes into play, and it's a focused practice on meeting room solutions in modern work. Do we have another 5 dedicated soldiers to look after XCAV? The answer is no. We obviously cross-populate, given that it's an environment that is technically pretty similar to XC voice, bar 1 or 2 physical installation teams. There is not much difference with regards to the technical teams who help us configure this and make the systems work, the software work for our customers. So when you look at what it used to be like, where people traveled long distances for board meetings, for customer meetings, for all sorts, that is now obviated by the ability to apply the XCAV meeting room experience to our customers, to their teams, for people to interact on an audio visual level that is beyond just seeing it on a small computer screen and talking into a headset. In this space, I guess we probably maximize the use of Teams. We get to deploy some really fine solutions. Some of them could be fantastic sporting event solutions, if you ask me. We have deployed some of them which in the boardrooms, good Lord, if you streamed a rugby match or a football match over this lot, it would be as good as sitting in the stand. So that's the extent to which we can go. The extent to which we can build a solution in the AV space is entirely dependent on what our customers want to do, what the ambitions are, and how you want the experiences to unfold amongst your executive, amongst your teams, on a national or international basis. It doesn't make any difference to us. It all goes to the routing, which and the connectivity, which we obviously address with our customers in the process of putting a solution together of this nature. So whatever that meeting room requirement might be, this partnership and using these tool sets makes it very easy for us to build a bespoke environment for you in a number of environments, offices, spaces, home spaces, whatever it is you need. The reality is that the traditional idea that we would have a suffering and failing connection, which is what we have experienced, at least I have, I speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure there are many of you out there who can attest to some of the pains of the early days of conferencing, where it took a good 15 minutes of the meeting before you managed to get everybody talking to one another and hopefully getting a bit of video to join in. The reality today, and with technology advancing to where it is, the consistent high quality video and audio for us is so cool to be able to transform any of these spaces into decent meeting rooms, workplaces, places where people can collaborate using the facilities within Teams. It really is a pleasure. The quality and setup, the integration to devices, desktop boardroom devices, multiple hands-free meeting collaboration devices, all these kind of things. Even the video today, the way we can set this up, again, dependent on our customers' requirements, we can make the video as interactive and as intelligent as is needed. Video that follows users, that follows movement of people's heads during discussions. That if I move to the left and I go slightly off picture, the video camera will track me and keep me in focus and keep me in play whilst we're having these discussions. If I get up and walk around, we have the ability to deploy solutions that will see this as a meeting environment, and you would enjoy the same meeting quality and the meeting engagement experience that you would generally enjoy if you were all in the same room in any case. So, and that could be between here and Cape Town, here and Durban. When I say here, I'm speaking from Centurion, Pretoria. It could be from Durban or Cape Town or Bloemfontein to somewhere international, again, depending on how the business is structured and how it functions. So again, these project milestones, the scope of work definitions, all of that stuff is done by our project teams with you. We specify with you what you need. We work out a project plan that says there's going to be disruption. Go figure. It's a boardroom that needs to be rebuilt, reconstructed from a device perspective, recabled, retrunked, all that kind of stuff. There is the option to go wireless, of course. That is another discussion. But again, I'm talking about options, and I'm talking about different attributes that can be applied for you depending on how you want to go and how you want to work. It can go from a relatively cost-effective teeny solution to a massive deployment. We have some customers that, as I said, have these huge deployments, and that's what they chose to do, and that's their spend, and that's what the ambition is, because in their environments they require that video and audio quality, that experience, because there are instances where they actually take customers through premises and show them office space and all that kind of stuff online in virtual environments. So it has to be for what the customers need. We are there for that. It's relatively simple to deploy. I mean, nothing is just easy, quick in and out. I say relatively simple. They're obviously, depending on the spec that we work with, how we structure that and how we build it into your current Microsoft Windows environment, and administering the different rooms and the different areas. Obviously, you get to do that. You get your admin rights, and people can be admitted to these rooms. People can be obviously the attendance registers. All those kind of things are part of what these solutions can deliver for you, to you. All your mute capabilities, your call transfer, dial in, dial out capabilities. There are security attributes that one has to take into account. That security element is part of what we will help define with you, that you don't get people climbing into meetings that they're not authorized to be in, that you don't get outside invasion of meetings and of environments, that you don't get hidden users sitting listening to discussions that are, potentially sensitive or company confidential, whatever the case might be. It's a case of doing it in such a way that we enable you people, our customers, Microsoft, their customers, your customers' customers, people who work and engage with these platforms, to make sure that they can do that securely, and do it from a compliance perspective. Just today's engagement, for example, we're very specifically running this in a certain manner. We have subtext running. The subtitling is specific to a compliance-related portion of our work, and that goes to Microsoft's commitment to compliance, to regulatory compliance, to all data confidentiality, all that kind of stuff. Our POPI environment speaks to very specific requirements. Microsoft addresses those. XContent addresses those by virtue of our relationship with Microsoft. And we are guided very particularly through adhering to the Microsoft Partner Program Guide and the partner requirements. And that obviously keeps our partnership intact and keeps us sweet amongst each other. It also, by default, gives us, as XContent, the benefit of transferring that compliance and protocol to our customers from a data privacy and security perspective. Okay, so I think we're pretty clear on what XCAV can do. It's the combination of the voice and audio, at least the audio and the visual experience, that this is a specialized and dedicated business unit that will support our customers in this space. So when it comes to the range of tools and products that you can have access to, we have on our very own XC Mall. It's an online shopping space where we have a variety of tool sets, hardware products that people can go and buy, and it's an online shopping experience that is like no other, really. You can go and search for whatever it is you need, click on that, we'll build a solution for you from there. You can click your options, and we can build up a variety of different tool sets for you based on what your requirements are that you specify there. Obviously, from a deeper dive perspective, for bigger deployments and for bigger bids where you have multi-site connectivity and routing and a slightly deeper technical requirement, again, we will source what you need. We will source what's in our experience been the most effective technical solution. And we have, I think, pretty much tried them all. I don't have Stefan on this call. He heads up our operations in that space. I know that he has literally tested every single device that's available to us out there, and we've settled on a number that we've of devices that we've found to be the most effective and reliable. Of course, if there is a specific discussion that needs to be had with our customers based on a customer commitment to a certain product set within an agreed arrangement and partnership, we will obviously honor that and work with our clients in progressing using those product sets. And this would go right the way through from your high-tech headset spaces to your contact center requirements, headset requirements for call center. I'm speaking to you right now off a headset, a binaural noise cancelling headset, which is what we offer. I've been using this thing now right the way through since December of last year. I've got two of them. I use one on my laptop and one on my desktop environment. The one on my laptop, it's a UC device. I can unhook it and put it into my mobile if I need to, and just beetle off with it, and it still sits and functions as a fully fledged UC headset. So again, the options are available. We will discuss these with you and take you through the process of building a project, putting the definitions and scope down, and making this thing roll out. Tim, I have concluded the piece on the voice and AV. And before I go into XContent a little more about us, is there anything you'd like to add or say at this point in time?
Thanks very much, Brendan. I think it was quite comprehensive. I think, and I prompted the question as part of the announcement in the Q&A section, XC Voice is a great platform to enable users to be able to make and receive calls from their Teams client, wherever they may be. I think your XCAV solution talks around the Teams meeting room experience, and I think it is something to consider from a roadmap and features perspective. With everyone returning back to the office, are you as a customer considering the impact on changing technologies, or potentially, using your existing technologies that you have in play? How does that tie back into Microsoft Teams, as this is the product that your users have been using from home? So I think you've done a fantastic job around explaining the product solution stack and your offering. I just want to, leave the question with, our customers, that what is your plan going forward? We keep thinking about business continuity. Is my service up? Can my people still send and receive email? But this is a new way of working, right? When people return back to the office and they're used to using Microsoft Teams from home or wherever they may be, what is that plan in terms of meeting rooms, right? Is because our partners have several trade-up offers, trade-in offers, where you can actually convert your existing meeting rooms into NTRs. I love this slide because it actually talks very specifically around the different types of workspaces, be it a personal space like a handset or a headset, shared workspaces as huddle rooms with these little speakerphones on the desk, or even large empty rooms to house hundreds of people in the same room from our partner vendor solutions. So thank you very much, Brendan. For now, I just wanted to kind of leave that thought with our customers and the attendees that have joined this webinar. What is the plan going forward? We have the time now to at least prepare ourselves for that return to the new normal, as everyone calls it. And I just want to kind of park that there, but I'll hand back over to you, Brendan. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Thanks, Timothy. Well, you hit the nail on the head in terms of what is the plan, what happens now, what next. And I think from an XContent perspective, our partnership with Microsoft, our what nexts are driven every day by the new and essential functions that come out within our Microsoft stacks, and this is where XContent just loves to play. And I use the word play. We play. We love what we do. It's a place where we can enjoy. we have this background that you're looking at now that's been popped onto our desktops, and Yeah, it was interesting to see the responses by some of the folk. Where my tradition? I can't see my traditional icons anymore. Well, how am I going to see them? This is freaking me out. I was one of them, and when we look, we take the icons out of it. One of the questions that came to me was, why the hell have you got desktop icons? In any case, you should be using it differently. And it's a very good question. And these are the things that challenge us into different and deeper thinking every single day. And when you look at where XContent goes, what our ambitions are, where to from here, our story in the top left, rolling around and having a look at how we grew, how we started adopting some of the new keywords. We started winning some proper achievements in the cloud space. We put good case studies together on this exact stuff we spoke about today. The COVID pandemic accelerated so many discussions with our customers, and it will continue to accelerate discussions with our customers going forward, because the way we're going to do business in the next 2 to 3 years is going to morph and change. There are going to be other challenges similar or same as the pandemic that we're experiencing. I daren't use the term just been through, because it's not over yet, clearly, by some of the data that's been shared internationally. So the challenges are going to be there. They're going to grow and they're going to reshape. And we better be darn sure that as XContent, that we're paying attention to those ambitions, to where our customers want to go, and what planning do they want to do. So how do we do that? How do we make those ambitions happen? As a business, we have built a solid foundation on the pillars that you're looking at now: XC Frontier, XC Voice, XCAV, XC Secure, XC Ops, and XC More, which we've just addressed a few minutes ago. And really, these sit in the co-sell space with Microsoft. So we have these solutions depending on what customers need and how they define those ambitions going forward. How do we define your journey? How do we help define the customer journey? Do we look at revisiting virtual desktop integration? Do we look at ways and means of reducing desktop spend, device spend at the desktop, using traditional desktop computers with expensive electricity bills and fans and pieces that break and so on and so forth? How do we bring a product like XC Frontier in, where there's no processing at the desktop, no processing happening down here, and we're using the power of Azure to deliver the services via the thin client at the user end? And when I say thin client, that device could be the lowest spec laptop that you could find, or a little terminal device that requires very little other than an operating system. And in this instance, Windows 10 would be perfect. That is our standard operating system that comes out with XC Frontier, and it literally connects you to the services and the Microsoft SKUs and stacks that sit in the cloud for our customers to operate with. And we basically rethink and redesign the entire cloud networking structure for our customers using the tools that we have available. We enable voice across that. We can enable XCAV across Frontier. All our security and compliance tool sets, everything that we can deploy in a traditional environment that one would have in your cloud, now we can run over these new sets, these new product sets, these 6 pillars, and offer our customers an entirely turnkey, if you like, full holistic solution that encompasses all the applications that they need. From a security perspective, running a security ops center 24/7, allowing us to address security related questions, configuration questions, alerts, all these kind of things, managed service alerts that run while we don't, that run in the background, that can trigger specific alerts on our operations center, where customers in many instances weren't even aware that there were these risk alerts or breaches, or whatever the case, or attempted breaches, whatever the case might be. And we've already solved those problems for them. So this has to form part, from our perspective, has to form part of the way we work going forward. From an XC Ops perspective, it's probably our flagship services competency or practice. That is an entire cloud operation management service that we apply, and I'll take you through a bit more detail on that now. But when you look at all the things that I've just mentioned over here, you look at the XE Mall, which is, and I must say this specifically, that's why I've got it on here. It's the home of the Microsoft Surface Stacks, Surface Hub. We are an approved and authorized reseller of the Surface devices. If you haven't seen them, you best go and have a look at them. They are absolutely divine. And when you look at now combining all the Microsoft Power Apps and stacks that we have available to us in M365 on that device, yeah, I don't think there's anything like it in the market right now. So yes, I know I'm biased, but that's the world I live in. It's fantastic. So obviously, all of these things that I'm showing you in our pillars of business talk to one another and enable one another through the nature of their online space, where they operate, and why we have them. So if I take a slightly deeper dive into our service operations, which I mentioned, these are service ops that we can build for our customers in a managed services space, where we work, and these could be to any customer looking to enhance the way their current operations are managed and run. You could be an installation currently running your Microsoft stacks, everything working for you, and a couple of areas where you're a little concerned around your security, your business continuity plans, configuration management, ID management, DevOps services, all those kind of things. This is where we can add value to you by assisting in how that is managed and taken care of. It's not something, again, we say stick to the knitting, stick to what you're good at, Mr. Customer. If you're a network operator and provide mobile connectivity and network services to subscribers, stick to that. Whatever you need in the back end, running all of this lot and making sure that everything's secure and working, we'll specialize in looking after that for you. We kind of like the bodyguards that live in that world and give you the information you need and make sure that it's managed and mitigated before it causes any damage. So that's why we have this discipline, excuse me, and this practice within XContent to offer that value to our customers. And these things can be structured in whichever way our customers need them to be built, and whatever product sets, whatever deeper engagement need to be included, these are constructed for us by the ops teams to meet any specific customer requirements. Of course, any looking forward to any plan ahead, one has to consider, and certainly from our perspective as a Microsoft certified partner in this space, a gold partner in this space, how we configure Microsoft Azure services, how we apply them, how we take our customers or customers on the journey with the Microsoft Azure services. And it really, this is probably for me one of the most exciting areas. I consult a lot in this space, and I provide a lot of decision support services around policies, procedures, practice, and making all of these things work for our customers. I'm part of a team that does that in my spare time between 2 and 3 in the morning, and it's wonderful to be able to piece together the areas within customer businesses that are almost, yeah, like legacy. You got finance, you got marketing, you got HR, human capital, whatever they call these nowadays. And all of these units have all operated as their silos. They all have their own governance. They all have their own data applications, their own data stacks, their own shared drives, all that stuff where people are accessing and sharing information and duplicating information. And unbelievable when you deep dive into some of the customers, how using this architecture model that I'm presenting to you here, going through these steps, having a look at where do we add value, what do we use, do we look at deeper BI, are we using machine learning, are we using predictive analytics based on analyzing the data that the customers have collected over 15, 20 years, where that data has just traditionally been stored? Is there a lot of value in that data? Is there business cross and upsell value sitting there? Is there customer retention value sitting there? A multitude of different things, and the power of Azure unlocks everything that we need to do there. And these are the disciplines that we bring to the table with our skill sets and our teams within XContent. I'm pretty sure that if you look at that very slide in front of you, any roadmap, any way forward has to include pretty much everything that we're putting on the page, right? I've mentioned the products. XCFrontier is a homegrown product. It's our Azure-based virtualization solution. We have built this thing for customers who have required very specific virtual desktop access integrations. It's complementary to some of the stuff that Microsoft does, and it's very specific to customer requirements where they may not need to take as technical a dive as putting a bigger application in the place. We don't want to walk away from those clients, and we don't want to say we can't help you. So this is why we develop these things, these applications, these tool sets that complement, in many instances, what Microsoft does as our partner, and we're allowed then to take these solutions to customers who would potentially walk away from us not being able to offer solutions. We take deeper dives into master data management. PIM is our own product, again, our own XCTMS tire management systems, all online BI-driven fleet tire management solutions. We then have our customer portal where service desk, customers can change their licensing and invoicing, can be re-engineered for them online. So it's really a billing hassle taken out of the way. And then, of course, LMS 365, which is our, in partnership with eLearning Force, it's a M365-based tool set for learning. It's an e-learning solution platform that is surfaced in Teams and uses SharePoint as a backend. It's in our world and it's in our space, and our customers that use it love it. And it allows us, again, the flexibility to work in this new modern workplace, where it's not just about apps. It's about making software and solutions do the business work, the long hauling, the deep hauling that we're used to doing manually, basically, and getting in front of classrooms and teaching and training. We move that into a virtual environment to add the value that our customers are looking for and that they want to give to their staff and teams. Obviously, XContent is a well-driven company in relation to our power through partnerships. Microsoft is our primary partner. We have our tiered partner structures, and these are some of the partners we work with. And again, the partners aren't to show our customers that we have great depth in the type of connections that we have. These are built around solutions, excuse me, that we very specifically apply to customer requirements. And that's what has made us so strong in the space as a unique solution provider. And then I'll just quickly share with you some of the customers that we work with, and it's across a wide variety of disciplines. And the interesting part is we get to work in these customer spaces where we are challenged every single day, and these are just some of them. I'd be happy to share a lot more with you and take a deeper dive on any of the stuff that I've spoken to you about here. You're welcome. You have my email address, brendan@xcontent.com. You're welcome to touch base with me there, and I will, with pleasure, take you through any more detail that you need. And once again, it would have been lovely to interact with you while we were on this call, but I certainly appreciate the opportunity for us to showcase XContent, our capabilities. And again, Microsoft, thank you to you. We value this partnership deeply and certainly look forward to continuing and growing in this space. Tim, I'm handing it to you.
Excellent, Brendan. Thank you so much, and thanks for taking us through a deep dive or a very good simmer and an understanding of all the solutions that XContent as a fast-track partner and a gold partner of Microsoft can offer customers today. We don't see any major questions that were asked in the Q&A panel that have already been addressed. So we'd like to say thank you very much to XContent for presenting your solutions today. We'd like to thank our customers, you, our customer, for joining this webinar. And please feel free to reach out either to Brendan and the team or to myself and Irene, who invited you to this event. With that, Brendan, I think we'll close off the session. We'll still be around for some Q&A, but with this, we'll conclude the session. And thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.